How did Rasputin die? Rasputin was murdered on the 30th of December 1916 in the cellar of the Moika Palace, the St. Petersburg residence of Prince Felix Yusupov, the richest man in Russia, and married to the Tsar's only niece. And it is Prince Yusupov that has given us the most lasting and enduring and certainly the most interesting account of how Rasputin died. But it isn't true. Grigori Yefimovich Rasputin was born in Siberia in 1869, and he rose to a position of enormous power and influence within the Russian court. He was a wandering holy man who was said to have healing powers, and he adopted tenets of Christianity and preached a version of it whereby you got closer to God by sinning and then asking for forgiveness. This meant that Rasputin did a lot of sinning and encouraged other people to do the same. Apparently, he once said to a woman that he was seducing, "I do not degrade you, I purify you." That's a hell of a line. He was married, but he ditched his wife and children and he set up in St. Petersburg. And as you can see, he had a lot of women who were willing to be purified by him. The trouble really started when he came to the attention of the Tsar and Tsarina, who both had an interest in the occult and had dabbled with mystic holy people before. Their oldest son, Alexei, had haemophilia, which was really dangerous at the time. And they thought maybe Rasputin, with his healing powers, could cure their child. So they sent for him, and for reasons that people haven't been able to fully explain, Rasputin did seem to help Alexei. Was it psychosomatic? Was he able to hypnotize and calm the child? Was it the fact that he refused to let any other doctors help him, and so they stopped giving him aspirin, which is a blood thinner, which may have been why he could stop this boy from bleeding? We just won't know. But whatever he did, Tsarina Alexandria was eternally grateful, devoted to this man, loved him. Here is a picture of Rasputin with the Tsarina and all of their children. He becomes a confidant, he becomes an advisor, he begins to seriously overstep the mark, and he starts advising the Russian royalty on matters of state. And this is during the start of the First World War too. I mean, it would never happen today, but you can understand why a rank outsider with no political power or credentials whatsoever being given a position of unassailable power within a government, beginning to fire people and advise on war matters, is a serious issue. So Rasputin is making enemies left, right and centre. This is one satirical cartoon where he's literally puppeteering the Tsar and Tsarina. And there had been attempts before in his life, but he had managed to survive them. But his luck was coming to an end when this man, Prince Felix Yusupov, and his mates decided they were going to be the ones to do Rasputin in. And nobody knew what had happened until 1952 when Yusupov published his memoirs and disclosed all. And he writes it like a film script. He says that he invited Rasputin over to the palace late at night where he gave him cakes and wine that had been laced with cyanide, and he sat there watching him eat it, but nothing had any effect on Rasputin. The conspirators begin to panic, so they decide that they're just going to shoot Rasputin. So they come in and then they fire him full of lead, and they think that they've done it. But then they go back in and they check on him later, and he's not dead, he's alive. He jumps up and he tries to strangle Yusupov, and they have to shoot him again, and he crawls away, and as he's crawling to get away from them, they batter him on the head, they shoot him again, and then finally he's dead. And they dump his body in the river. But when his body is discovered 3 days later, he had water in his lungs. So he wasn't even dead then. It's a hell of a story, but an actual autopsy was carried out on the body of Rasputin. You can even see photographs of his body if you really want to. A review of that original autopsy was carried out again by Dr. Zarov in 1993, and this is what was found. And if you look at the post-mortem photograph, you can see that he had a bullet right here. And according to the autopsy, he had 2 other bullets in his torso. And an important detail here is that his genitals were present at the autopsy. That's important because there's another myth that goes around that Rasputin's penis has been severed and is sitting in a jar somewhere. No, it's not. But they checked for poison and it wasn't present. There was no water in his lungs. He was shot 3 times execution style and at close range. Now, in recent years, there has been some more conspiracy that maybe a British agent had carried this out because it was suggested that one of the guns used to do him in, it was a .455 Webley revolver. And these were issued to British military personnel. But Douglas Smith's fabulous biography of Rasputin has discovered that that particular type of revolver was widely being sold in Russia at the time. So anybody could have had it, if that was what was even used. Yusupov and his mates lured him to a cellar and then shot him execution style, which they did because he had a huge amount of influence over the Tsar and Tsarina, and he was trying to get the Tsar to make peace with Germany. There was no cyanide, there was no drowning, There might have been a beating, but who knows. And he did this because when he wrote his memoirs, he was financially struggling and he needed it to be a bestseller. So he jazzed it up a bit. And also, if you're going to admit to murder in a memoir, you need to make people believe that it was really necessary. So of course he has to paint Rasputin as the devil incarnate. He can't just say, I lured him in and then shot him in the head. So he makes it up. He embellishes the facts and he leaves us with one hell of a story, which makes him look like the good guy and Rasputin look like the devil incarnate.